Hello, I'm Tom Whitnick. Welcome to the KZGN News.
From the Rademacher Hills to Bee Mountain and the mighty Sierras, Ridgecrest to Inyokern and China Lake, this is your news for the Indian Wells Valley with the KZGN News crew.
In Kern County Sheriff News, we received this notice. While we usually try and focus on local news, this is one to be aware of that we have these types of predators even here in Kern County. On March 30th, 2015, Michael Corral, 24, of Arbin, used a Facebook account to communicate with two 14-year-old females. The Facebook account Corral used belonged to a friend of the two females. Corral eventually lured both female juveniles to the Valley Plaza Mall, where he picked them up in his vehicle. He drove the juveniles to a remote area near Lamont, purchased alcohol, and consumed it with them. During the incident, Corral threatened the females with a knife and sexually assaulted them. The females were eventually able to flee from Corral and call law enforcement. On March 31st, Corral turned himself into the Arbin Police Department. Deputies from the Kern County Sheriff's Office responded to take custody of Corral. Corral was booked into the Central Receiving Facility for 2 counts each of the following charges: PC 261, rape by force or fear; PC 245, assault with a deadly weapon; and PC 417, exhibit a deadly weapon other than a firearm. Remember to warn your children of the dangers of meeting strangers on the internet. Well, it's good to hear that Washington is also hearing about California's water problems. In news from Washington, D.C., House Majority Leader Kevin McCarthy of California released the following statement on Governor Brown's water restriction mandate. He said, "The current drought in California is devastating. Today's order from the governor should not only alarm Californians, but the entire nation should take notice that the most productive agriculture state in the country has entered uncharted territory. We have experienced extreme drought conditions in years past. But thanks to the most sophisticated water system in the country that captured and stored water during the wet years for use during the dry years, our communities and farmers survived. Unfortunately, state officials have turned their back on this proven infrastructure system. Today's order is the culmination of failed federal and state policies that have exacerbated the current drought into a man-made water crisis. Sacramento and Washington have chosen to put the well-being of fish above the well-being of people by refusing to capture millions of acre-feet of water during wet years for use during the dry years. These policies imposed on us now and during wet seasons of the past are leaving our families, businesses, communities, and state high and dry. These rules and regulations must be changed." He went on by saying, "My House colleagues and I have acted aggressively to enact legislation that would have helped protect us from the current situation. In 2011 and again in early 2014, the House passed comprehensive water legislation to increase the amount of water we could capture and store. Unfortunately, the Obama and Brown administrations and Senators Boxer and Feinstein opposed these proposals. As the drought continued to worsen, the House passed emergency drought legislation in December of 2014 to allow us to capture storm and rainwater from early season storms. That too was blocked by the Senate. I'm from the Central Valley, and we know that we cannot conserve or ration our way out of this drought. It is time for action, and House Republicans are developing another legislative proposal to help put California water policy back on the path to common sense. Given today's announcement, this time I hope Governor Brown, Senator Boxer, and Senator Feinstein will join my colleagues and me in this effort." Those were Congressman McCarthy's comments. Well, at last night's City Council meeting, a great crowd showed up. I estimate about 100 people in attendance at the beginning of the meeting. The hot topic was the county providing yet another briefing to the City Council and the people, an update of the Kern County Environmental Management Plan. The topic opened with Kern County Planning Director Lorelei Alviat providing new and updated recommendations. A lot changed from the initial recommendations advertised. She outlined there are 4 areas of consideration. First, rezoning certain parcels. Second, adopting the Navy Air Use Corridor Plan. 3, new zero-scape landscaping restrictions. And 4th, provide a means to control large dust problems caused by land stripping. This latest proposal recommends leaving all currently developed A1 zone land with 5 acres or less as is, no change. But the recommendation still proposes changing the zoning of vacant A zone parcels. For water conservation, they have decided to adopt the Indian Wells Valley Water District Ordinance Guidelines. So this will impact planting of vegetation in the unincorporated areas of the valley. The new recommendations will include changing the zoning of about 1,100 acres of private land. All government-owned land will be designated as open space. When asked if any of this plan would impact any currently approved conditional use permits, Lorelei said no current CUP uses will be changed. Those owners have to do nothing. Well, as public comment started, it was obvious that the water wars of the early West is alive and well in the valley. People started commenting on the legality of the zone changes, the validity of the Todd report, which the county bases their main dependence on for data. Lawsuits were threatened. Supporters said it is undisputable that many wells levels are dropping. They argued that we must not wait for some time in the future to stop something to stop the drop. Yet many speakers pleaded for the county to slow down, to consider doing more studies as to really how much water we have in our basin. No one really knows how much water is under us, but the supporters of adopting the county plan argued we have to do something now to put a Band-Aid on the problem. We need to slow the bleeding. One commenter said she talked to a couple of people in Indian Kern if they had any concerns with the plan. They both said while they had received the blue letters about it, they thought it was just about water conservation, and they said they were already conserving. They had no idea how wide encompassing the plan was. Well, the City Council took no official action Wednesday evening, opting to digest the new information and wait until the county actually releases the new recommendation. It actually happened this afternoon at 3 o'clock. Everyone will be able to get the document at the county's website. And the council is expected to take up the issue of a formal position at their next council meeting, April 15th. Welcome back. In other City Council news, the City Manager, Dennis Spear, gave a thorough overview of the budget process, and it's just around the corner. The City will be requesting from department heads their budgets for the 2015 to 2016 fiscal year. Dennis suggested that things in this year's budget is projected to have a $139,000 surplus. However, next year's budget will still have to be tightly constrained to maintain the surplus and the current reserve of about $900K. He says that is any savings that are acquired during the year, we need to add that to the reserve and not just look for ways to spend it. Dennis projected that the council will be able to start holding public budget sessions in the middle of May. So the council should expect to get that request very soon. It will be recommended that the council hold special budget-only meetings for the majority of the process. Sergeant Myers of the Ridgecrest Police Department Traffic Division has made the following press release. Tonight, the Ridgecrest Police Department will operate a DUI, driver's license checkpoint, and DUI saturation patrol. This will take place somewhere within the city of Ridgecrest. The Ridgecrest Police Department announced today that this driver's license checkpoint and DUI patrol are scheduled for today between the hours of 7 p.m. and 3 a.m. within the city. The actual location of the checkpoint will not be disclosed, and the location of the checkpoint may move even during the evening if determined necessary by Sergeant Myers. These checkpoints take very little time, and once the driver provides driver's license and registration, as long as they haven't been drinking, they are sent on their way. Average stop time is less than 1 minute. The Ridgecrest Police Department considers the use of DUI and driver's license checkpoints and DUI saturation patrols effective in detecting and removing impaired drivers from the road. The checkpoint and saturation patrol are funded by a grant from the Office of Traffic Safety through the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. If you're going to drink, do not drive. And equally important, don't get into a vehicle with a driver who has been drinking. Plan ahead and designate a non-drinking driver. Report drunk drivers. Call 911. The checkpoint has been approved by Ridgecrest Chief Police Ron Strand. Now a real local story. I don't know how many of you viewers were here back in 1998, but there was a huge volunteer event that happened here. The base was approached by an individual looking for an old World War II B-29 airplane for restoration. China Lake had one out on its range. The World War II official plane name was Doc. The desire was to salvage the old B-29 and bring it back to life and fly it again. Tony Mazzolini was the man behind the idea. To make a very long story short, he solicited local support for the project under the guise that if local people here would help him get the plane from the Navy, we would then move it to the Inyukurn Airport, rehab it, and make it fly again. Well, the local people felt it would be even greater if this plane was made part of a main emphasis of a new airplane museum here. The large group of volunteers then took the task of moving it off the base. It had to be repaired so it could even be moved. Ultimately, this large group of people towed the plane about 38 miles all the way to Inyukurn Airport. The CHP had to assist as we even towed it a distance down Route 395. I was part of that volunteer army to get it to the airport. It was really a sight to see. We even had TV coverage from LA while moving the plane. There was film of the plane moving down 395. In conjunction with that move, the volunteers even got land allotted to establish the new museum at the airport. Eventually we had about 6 aircraft there, and we started getting visitors. We even set up a building out there as office space. We even posted guards out there when necessary. For some reason we had threats of vandalism, so the volunteers stood guard overnight many times. I was one of those. Everyone was getting ready to start working on the plane. Then just as things were getting going, Tony Mazzolini secretly made arrangements to take the plane and move it from here to a Boeing hangar in Wichita, Kansas. This left a bitter taste in most of the local volunteers. Well, the news is the plane has been restored by many Boeing volunteers back there. Anyway, it appears that old Doc is just about ready to fly once again. It is said that it could fly as early as this spring. All of us local people that helped in getting it moved from the base can take satisfaction that she will fly again. And that was the goal. Maybe the owner will at least have it flown back out here once, so all of us former volunteers could once again see it and watch it fly. Now, in KZGN continuous effort to provide news and information you've asked for, here are today's local gas prices for your information. As of this morning, Ridgecrest is ranging from $2.99 to $3.39, plus one station sitting at $3.69. Lancaster is ranging from $2.99 to $3.39. The LA Valley area is sitting $2.97 to $3.21, and the Bishop area is sitting between $3.25 to $3.38. We have 2 stations coming in at the $2.99 figure. It now appears that some surrounding area prices are now matching us here. Let's hope that equal pricing continues. We will be providing these prices 3 times a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Of course, we at KZGN always suggest you fill up here to support our local economy. Remember, when you pay any sales tax out of town, you are helping those cities pave their streets instead of here. Stay tuned for sports and weather after the break. Thanks for staying with us. Now let's go to Keith for the weather.
Thank you, Tom, and good Friday, everybody. For the regional weather, severe thunderstorms are expected Friday from the lower Mississippi Valley across the Tennessee Valley and into the Ohio Valley. Large hail and damaging wind will be the main threats. Isolated tornadoes are possible, mainly over Kentucky and Tennessee. Other isolated strong storms are possible across southern Texas and from Virginia into southern Pennsylvania. Temperatures from across the region: Massachusetts was at 53, Atlanta was at 73, Arkansas 74, Kansas 43, New Mexico 49, Colorado 32, Idaho 44, Montana 41, Oregon at 39. And for California, San Francisco was at 57, and Los Angeles area hovered around 69. For us locally in the IWV, tonight will be mostly clear with a low around 44. East-southeast wind 5 to 10 miles per hour. Saturday will be sunny with a high near 82. South wind 5 to 10 miles per hour with gusts as high as 15. Saturday night mostly clear with a low around 48. South-southwest wind 15 miles per hour. Wind gusts high as 25. And for Easter Sunday will be sunny with a high near 73. Breezy with the south-southwest wind 15 to 20 miles per hour with gusts as high as 30. Sunday night will be mostly clear with a low around 43, windy with a west wind 25 to 30 miles per hour, decreasing later in the evening. Monday, we're looking at mostly sunny with a high near 71, breezy with a southwest wind 15 to 20 miles per hour. And Monday night will be partly cloudy with a low around 44. Breezy with a west-southwest wind, 10 to 20 miles per hour. Gusts can get as high as 25. Have a good evening, everybody, and back to the news with Tom.
Thanks for that weather report, Keith. Also, let's go to Tom Heck for the sports.
And a very pleasant Friday afternoon to everybody. Start local sports note, Saracoso baseball. Very good game yesterday up on the hill. Saracoso dropped a 7-6 decision to the College of the Desert. The game was tied 2-2 going into the top of the 7th inning when Desert scored 5 runs to take a 7-2 lead. Coso, though, came back with 1 run in the 8th inning to make it 7-3 and then scored 3 times in the 9th inning. And they had the tying run at second base, so they made it interesting, but came up a buck short, 7-6. The two teams play again tomorrow in Palm Desert, 12 o'clock start. Early departure for the Coyotes. They'll have to leave here about 6 in the morning to get to a 10:30 batting practice. We'll have the action for you on 12:40 a.m. KLOA and 13:60 a.m. KWDJ, starting at about 10 minutes to 12. You can also listen in on SaracosoBaseball.club, anywhere that you may be to pick up the broadcast. All right, NBA, it's going to be playoff time just around the corner here. The Cavaliers playing good basketball. They beat Miami last night in Cleveland. Now, in that game, LeBron James had 25 points. He's starting to play very, very strong again, and I mean, he's finally healed up. He's been playing hurt all season long. Miami fighting for the playoffs. They're right now occupying the last spot, along with a couple other teams fighting for that, actually the 7 and 8 spot in the East. All those teams under 500 makes it interesting. Dwayne Wade, though, the star player for Miami, slipped, and he has a bruised knee. He may be out for a week or two. We'll have to wait and see. He's a big cog in Miami's hope to even get in the playoffs. Miami without LeBron this year, of course. In the Eastern Division, the Celtics, the Hornets, the Pacers, and the Heat all fighting for the last couple of playoff spots. All right, the Final Four this weekend should be interesting. Kentucky's going to battle against Wisconsin, and Michigan State will play Duke. Michigan State and Duke should be a very close game. I think Kentucky's a little bit too big, too quick, and too strong for Wisconsin. NIT final last night in New York City. NIT, one of the oldest tournaments around. It's been around since 1924. Stanford beat Miami 66-64 in overtime. Stanford from the Pac-12. All right, the Dodgers Angels this weekend in the Freeway Series. They have another couple games left. They played last night. Shaka Smart's been named the new basketball coach at the University of Texas. He was at Virginia Commonwealth the last 6 years. Made the playoffs 5 of those years. Got to the Final Four in 2011. Rick Barnes was let go by Texas on Saturday of last week after 17 years. He made the tournament 16 times, but they had a dispute over his assistant coaches, whether to keep him or not. So Barnes said, see you later, and he is now the head coach at Tennessee. All right, women Final Four NCAA. It'll be in Tampa this weekend. South Carolina and Notre Dame, Maryland, and UConn. They will play on Sunday, and I believe their championship game is on Tuesday night. All right, there's your sports for the weekend. I'm Tom Heck for KZGN.
So that's the news for today. All of us at KZGN-TV know you have a choice in what you watch for your news. We all thank you for choosing KZGN-TV, Frisco's only community TV station. And Sunday is Easter. Happy Easter, everyone.